next part, what I'm doing, I think we'll extend that little siding just a little bit more, just to give it, so I can get 4 wagons and a little loco in there. I've temporarily fixed the track into place here for the station. This will probably end up going about here. That's the geometry sorted out. So it's just now track needs to come across here, and then as soon as it crosses over the main line, I can start the curve and make it as gentle as possible down here, and joining on to approximately here is where I can, well, that's a fixed piece of track that goes to there. I'm not going to cut this, so I'll remove it to there. As a flex track, and probably start the curve about here, just at the top of this, the rise, and then just have it come round and join up. So I need to now work on fitting the bridge, my steel girder bridge, which I have started to paint. Let me just move this. Just painted it a dull metallic-y brown in colour. I am going to use quite an old modelling technique and chip this. So I'm going to paint the bridge in a off yellow, pale yellow sort of colour. I'm not quite sure yet what sort of shade, and then I'm going to chip it to reveal the rust steel work underneath and make it look quite old, and then use some pigments and washes to make it look quite dirty and well worn. That's going to be my job over the next few days, because I really cannot do any more here until I get the bridge fixed and then the track laid. Now, to help me with the embankment, the brickwork support for the bridge, I do have some of these brick plastic sheets which I can cut and shape and make my own embankment, abutments, whatever you want to call them. Then I can weather them as well. Quite nicely detailed, various sizes of brick. So again, I think that will fit in quite nicely there and there. And then fix and glue that in place, and then get that track laid. And once that is all done, I can then basically work on the landscaping here and finish off all the wiring on this. Okay, latest update. I've taken the track off again because I'm going to now create my final template for the boards. I'll take some of these sheets of paper and just tape them together and lay them on the boards that I've got there, lay the track on top so I can see exactly the board that I need, this, and then cut that to shape for the track, because that's what the track will sit on. And then the rest of the landscape, like for example in here, it'll be cut roughly like this. There'll be a board there. I've actually got a board behind my desk there that will do this in one piece. so there'll be no joins or anything. And then cut that all out, and then the rest I'll just fill with cardboard, foam, whatever I've got, and then landscape around that. It did work out, and I've marked it on the layout exactly where that track is going to come across. Again, I'm going to have to now think about what I want to do here for landscaping to get it up to this height. And one of my thoughts was certainly along until the track goes over the main line, maybe in here some sort of retaining wall on this side of the track, possibly continuing along a little bit along here, because as I said, I want this to go down with a slight slope, and that's going to be my vineyard, my fruit trees for the farm that I had before. On this side, again, I may do a retaining wall along here. It makes sense because this is higher up instead of having it slope down, so I'll think about that as well. I do fancy a retaining wall that's got some arches in it, because I think they look quite smart. So I'll have to see what I can find for that. But as I said, that's for the future. The next job is to lay the template, or mark out the template, and then cut the board that's going to go on top here, and that includes a little bit that will go to the edge here, approximately here and in. So I'll have it as one big piece. One of the other little things I've been doing this week is actually preparing the track. I'm not sure you can see that very well. I've actually painted the rails with a very light rust brown sort of colour, and I can weather the rest of the track. That's actually not a good example to show. I think maybe I should see the point. You might see it a little bit better. And the light's not really showing it up very well. Yeah, from that angle you can see it, I think, against the white background. It's very subtle. I don't want it to be too rusty. It's more like a dirt colour. And then I think once it's all ballasted in, then I'll again give it a weathering on top of that. So it'll be very, very subtle indeed, but that's the sort of look that I'm aiming for. One of the other things I've been doing as well is using some leftover bits and pieces from many years ago for a bridge kit. I had all these little wall sections that you glued at right angles, and instead of just using a sheet to cut the embankment and the supports for my bridge, I thought I'd try and use these and make it. And that's what I've done. As you can see, it doesn't look very pretty behind, but I've glued them all together, filled them in with some filler, and then you end up with this. And you can barely see the joins on that. I mean, that's only painted black at the moment to give it some shading. I am going to be painting that a brick grey colour that I've used on the other parts of my layout, to match the sort of brick that's on the tunnel portals there and there. So these will match that. Like I said, I've started that as well. So I've got several little projects running at the same time at the moment. I also just reach over here and grab this. Got myself another kit. Field track crossing the track with the poles, etc. So I'll be using that. It's quite a nice little kit. If I just reach into the box, here's the basically sections which can be painted and weathered. As you can see on the reverse side, you can use it either for straight sections or for curved sections. I'm going to be using it, as I've highlighted before, on the curved bit by the station. So there's a crossing over the track. The only issue is these curves on here are really, I think, a radius 2 curves. I'm going to be using a radius 4, so I will have to basically very carefully sand this back to match the track curvature, and the opposite on the other side, just the outside bits to flatten the curve a little bit, but that's not a great problem to do. And once it's all weathered, etc., I think that will again look very good. The final bit of work I've been doing this week is with my steel girder bridge. Painted it as you've seen before. I was then giving it its first coat of faded colour. I've gone with a sort of a very dull yellow colour. In the end, I was contemplating a green colour, but my other bridge there is green, so I thought I'd go for something different. So that's what it's going to be. I mean, it's still got to be weathered and everything. I'm not bothering painting the bed of the bridge because the track's in there. And one thing I have to research is, would that section of track going across the bridge actually be ballasted or not? I need to think about that, because on my other steel girder bridge, the bottom it's open, so I don't think there would have been ballast. Well, they couldn't be ballast on there because it would just fall through. But on this one with a solid base, should it be ballasted or not? That is a question I'm going to have to find out before I get round to doing that. That's obviously a long way off, but as I said, the first job is to weather this. I mean, it's a nicely faded yellow colour, but I need to put some rust spots and little scratches and what have you on there, just to make it look aged. The other thing I've been contemplating as well, again, I'm not sure if this is actually correct or not, because the bridge is crossing over the main line at an angle and not at 90 degrees, should the railings or the supports be slightly offset to match the track? Because in this example I use, let me just get a piece of track here, hold on. Imagine this underneath, that's a sort of angle it's going to be. Would that look better or not? I mean, from the measurements, both ends will be not sitting on the supports, they'll actually be into the landscape, because I think it's roughly from here to here is where it's going to be open underneath, if you will, in that sort of direction. So would it look better if it was offset? Something I think I'm only going to find out when I actually get to place the bridge and build the landscape around it, but something for me to keep in mind. One more thing I've been considering. I have two signals here and here, which were just before the old tunnel entrances. And do they in fact now need to be there? And I don't think that they do. So I'm going to remove this one and this one, which is good because I can use the old semaphore signal up on the rural station, so I can have a signal basically I think on this side here for trains leaving the station heading in that direction. And I do actually have one of these unused, which I will place here, I think, for trains leaving in that direction. Gives the station a more of an old-time feel. Sort of what I want to recreate is sort of 50s sort of look, which I've gone with the station building, the crossing and the bridge, and the rest of the buildings, etc. will match that, and I think the signals will sort of give it that feel as well.